Hello all. I figured I would do one of these things that I've not done in forever because there's lots of things I would like to talk about. I haven't done one of these things since Survivor Series. Since then, let's see, we had TLC, which was pretty damn good. WWE didn't fuck up the Shield, which was good. And they somehow kept Ryback where Ryback needed to be. That pay-per-view was also helped by the fact that it had an awesome crowd, which I'm sure helped it quite a bit. Um, and again, hopefully people went and saw that pay-per-view because it was probably worth seeing. I would definitely say. But yeah, they didn't fuck up the Shield, so that was good, and the Shield actually went over, and it was just a really, it was a good pay-per-view. We had a good ladder, yeah, just a lot of good stuff on that pay-per-view. Um, and probably the best thing WWE had done in a long, long time. I doubt the buy rates will show that, unfortunately, but I've always said this. You've got, WWE is so inconsistent on putting on good shows, bad shows, that even if I think they you have to put on a string of good shows to at least get people buzzed, and then maybe hopefully something catches on. So that whatever. Let's see. We had Final Battle, which was also really good to great, depending on what you liked, what you didn't like, what you enjoyed, what you didn't enjoy, all of that sort of stuff. Booking wise, there was some, I would say, and there was nothing, coming out of the show, with maybe the exception of the Briscoe stuff that might make you a little bit excited, but that's stuff that we're still going to have to wait and see, and all of those types of things. Let's see, what else did we have that was kind of interesting. I don't think I talked about the Chikara show. I don't think I've talked about the Chikara show. That was really good too. If you didn't see that, I would say it was great, but I would say it was really good. So there, that happened. You had the return of, uh, well, we found out who, the masked stranger was, the handsome masked stranger, or the mysterious handsome stranger, I guess. And which is unfortunate because for that whole gimmick to work, it's better if we don't know. It's just like the fans know, but the wrestlers and the office doesn't know, and you can always keep bringing it back. That's why Dusty was always able to do, his version of that so well. So, anyways, but we did have something great and wondrous happen that hopefully seem to get people excited about wrestling again. It took me a while, but I was able to finally watch the New Japan pay-per-view, Wrestle Kingdom 7. I'd always wanted to see a dome show, basically, the New Year's ish uh, show from New Japan. I've always wanted to see one of those live, and I was not able to. I finally had at least the ability to, and I didn't. Hopefully, other people did. Yes, you had to wake up early. Yes, it was long. But to finally be able to watch one of those was pretty freaking awesome. And this was a pretty freaking awesome show. I don't know if it was the best show of all time. I've heard some people say. Not so sure about that. Was it better than the best WrestleMania? Don't know about that either. Probably close. And I would say it's a lot closer than some people would imply. But I will say that I thought the show was. I mean, the show is awesome. You need to go see this show. Give New Japan their $35 because it was worth $35 to see. It's what, 4.5 hours, I think. At least 4 hours of wrestling, and it's pretty spectacular. You have two like dark matches that they showed that were they were fine for what they were. They were 6 men. You had the opener, which was more of Akibono versus Bob Sapp in a tag match. Everyone kind of hit their move. Again, it was fine. There was nothing really wrong with it. It was probably maybe the weakest match on the show, just because of what it was. It was not there to be, truly spectacular or anything. And then you had what do you have after that? Then you had Tanaka versus Shelton Benjamin, which was fine. It wasn't very long. It wasn't long enough to be great, and I don't think it was long enough for them to really do anything. And it was fine for what it was. But then then this show went like crazy. I mean, this show went off the wall. What do you want out of your matches? That is what I would ask, because usually when you're talking about like great shows, particularly recently, you're talking about shows that often have the same type of excuse me type of matches on them. There's not a lot of deviation. There are, I would say, 4 great matches on this show, and all 4 of them are very different from each other. Out of the great matches, there are some matches that are similar on the show, but none of the great matches are. They're all extremely, extremely, extremely different from each other. You did have the IWGP Tag Team title match, which was really good, I would say. Not as good as the World Tag League final, but it was, there goes my phone. But still really good. And definitely, it was nothing to take away from. It just wasn't, greatness. But then we had Nagata versus Suzuki, which was started. I mean, even before it was awesome. Suzuki came out to his theme, and they actually had the woman, I guess, who sings his theme, was playing it live, which was awesome. He comes out to the theme, it's playing live. Then Nagata came out, which we didn't get to hear his theme. One of the problems with the New Japan shows is that anything that they don't own the rights to as far as music, they completely mute on the entrances, which is very annoying, I would say, particularly since there's no, English commentary, which, I know they'll never listen to me, but hopefully at some point New Japan says, you know what, if we're going to keep doing this, let's just add, 2 English dudes just to do English commentaries, and do it so that when we mute out the music we don't have rights to, that the English guys are at least still talking, so there's still something going on, because it really just it just gets annoying after a while. That said, this match was old school awesome. They went for maybe about 20 minutes, and they just went out there and just had, lots of facials. Didn't do anything too crazy. They just went out there and had, Eugene Yagata match, went out there and had a Suzuki match, and it was greatness. I really, really liked this match. Then we had something completely different. We had the junior heavyweight title 3-way with Loki, Prince Devitt, and Ibushi, and this was I've heard Dave Meltzer say this was like one of the greatest 3-ways of all time. I don't know if I go that far. I would say this is probably the best laid out 3-way I may have ever seen. So yeah, this was really, really good, though, as far as like how they set it up and all this, and Loki was in a freaking suit. He was dressed up like the Hitman, the main character from Hitman, the video game. He was dressed up as him and wrestled in the suit with it was insane. And I wouldn't say it added to the match. It added to the spectacle of the match, but it didn't take away from the match. And this was really, really, really good stuff. I mean, it was just a really good 3-way. It was what a 3-way should be. It was very fast paced. There was no, guy, goes away for like 10 minutes and we have like a really good match, and then, none of that. It was 3 guys going in there, set up like you would see a 3-way. Hopefully enough people see this 3-way that this is kind of the basis that all 3-ways are kind of built upon, because the way the match was built, I really liked. I really, 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 really liked it. Then we had the Muto match, Muto and Otani taking on Tenzan and Kojima, which was fine for what it was. I mean, this was basically a Legends match. It was supposed to be Hashimoto's son in this match, and he got hurt, so which probably would have added a little bit more to the spectacle. This was definitely more of a spectacle match, and it did go probably a little longer than it needed to, but it was okay for what it was, and it was fine, and it was enjoyable. I mean, you got to see Muta, and I got to see Muta go out there and do his thing, and that's all. What else do you need in life? That is what I have to ask. Then we had the next two matches were very similar but very different at the same time. You had Shibata taking on Maccabi, which was, you had Shibata coming in as the outsider, doing the kind of shoot style, which the next match was basically the same thing, except that this was more of a fight, I would say, than the next match, which was the Nakamura Sakuraba match. Sakuraba, listen to me. Sakuraba match. This was much more of a fight, and that was fine because you had the other match coming right after this. It did kind of bug, and this is where kind of my problems with the show are. Is I'm not sure why, and I found out later, just reading stuff, why this happened, but Shibata not going over, which it made sense, I would think, for him to go over, but he didn't, so that was my only real problem with the match, but the match was really good. Then we had Nakamura versus Sakuraba, and I was kind of worried which Nakamura we were going to get, since he's become heel, and he's taking on kind of this heel persona. I haven't liked his matches as much. Not that I don't think he's good, not that I don't, I don't get it, because I do, and it's probably more entertaining, but I just enjoyed his matches before and the style he did before than now. It just kind of gets on my nerves a little bit. So I was wondering how we would see this, because if we had a really clash of styles, that this would be bad. Luckily, that's not what we got. We got kind of old Nakamura taking on Sakuraba, and yeah, it was a staged, kind of a stage shoot, them getting on there, doing, as close to a real wrestling match as you probably could, and still be entertaining, and it was pretty fucking awesome. Some really hard shots, some knees that were just insane, out of this world, nasty things that just made you go, oh my god. The mat work was just really good. Even though some of it was sloppy, it was still believable. So there was that. So that was awesome stuff. And then you had the main event, which was for the New Japan title, Tanahashi taking on Okada. And again, Tanahashi went over, which I thought was a mistake. Later found out that Okada didn't go over because apparently WWE is interested in him, which is kind of weird because of all of the guys in Japan that WWE could be interested in. Okada is kind of one of the ones I'd be like, really? Him? Okay. But not that Okada's bad, but it's just I think there are other guys that would translate better. Just me, but what do I know? Still, this was a really good match. I didn't enjoy it as much as some because it's a Tanahashi match, and I never enjoy Tanahashi matches except for the Suzuki match as much as others do. I always feel like his matches are kind of similar in a lot of ways, and they just never. I don't know. I don't know if they just underperform in my opinion or what it is, but just never enjoy them as much as others do. Still, not taking away, this is a great match, and without a doubt, he is, he puts on great performances every time out. There's no real questions about that, and yeah, so again, go see this, go see this, go see this. And then, of course, the thing that everyone's going to be talking about as I make this video, we had The Rock show up tonight, and we had CM Punk beat Ryback again tonight on Raw, so that it would be him and it would be CM Punk and The Rock, surprise, surprise, at the Royal Rumble. And so CM Punk came out and he did a promo which was pretty good. I think probably went over some people's heads. I kind of made me wonder. It wasn't one of those promos where I could see people getting into it, but I don't know if it was one of those that was kind of like too I don't want to say too smart, but just maybe shot a little higher than it needed to. But then you had The Rock, and he came out, and he did his shtick, and then Punk was right there with him. And physically, The Rock is much bigger than Punk, and so it did kind of look like a mismatch. And then when Punk started getting back at The Rock, and we actually started getting, jabs back and forth from each other. Yeah, boxing with God, that was pretty fucking awesome. Then it got great, and Punk held his own. I wouldn't say either guy won, because I think both guys went out there and did what they needed to do. I just think that it was greatness, and it probably got a lot of people, hopefully got a lot of people excited for the Royal Rumble, which is good. So that way, if people get excited for the Royal Rumble and the WWE can deliver at the Royal Rumble, then they can get excited for WrestleMania, which, I mean, that's kind of hand in hand. So we'll have to see how all of that plays out. But yes, the thing was awesome. But as I said, if you have a chance, go and see the New Japan show. I believe it is still up on Ustream. I do not have a link handy right now, but I will try to put a link in the description box. Like I said, it's $35. It's well worth your money. I wish I had seen this thing live. I do. I envy all of the people, because I know there's people here on YouTube that did see it live, and I envy every single one of you lucky motherfuckers. I really do, because I've always wanted to see one of these live. So hopefully next year, um, that will be something that can be done, because I would love that. I would love it, love it, love it. Would love to be there live myself, but we'll have to wait and see, because it got people really excited. New Japan has been kind of on an upswing, but then, and I'll just talk about this now, Dave Meltzer has talked about it, and so I will kind of share what he has said. Now, these are rumors, so take them for what they are. But apparently, there is a lot of dissension after coming off this great show, and there was all this dissension because you had the heads of New Japan were really big into bringing in Sakuraba and Shibata, and the people actually in New Japan, the New Japan bookers, were not so great on the idea. They weren't so big on the outsiders. They were like, it needs to be our own guys, needs to be this, and this is, and I've heard that before. I've heard that, they're really like that with the Noah guys, particularly, Kenta, which they're kind of down on because they only see him as a junior. That's what I myself have heard from people I know in Japan. I don't know how true that is, so there you go. But, so that sort of thing. But anyways, that all said, they were really down on that, which kind of sucks. Which is why apparently Shibata lost, was because it wasn't their idea, wasn't their thing. They're not into it. And Tanahashi really wants to take on Carl Anderson. Apparently that's who he wants to feud with. Maybe that would be big in Japan. I can't see that being a big deal myself. Just me. Not that I'm not impressed with Carl Anderson. Not that I don't think Carl Anderson has improved leaps and bounds. But I just don't see that as money. I see a Shibata Tanahashi match as money. I would see, Shibata, or Okada, who I think should have won. I think that is kind of what the one thing that kind of me on the show was that Tanahashi won. So, but that's kind of what's going on over there, and hopefully, you got people will finally kind of wake up and realize, hey, we got kind of a good thing going here. Let's not fuck it up. And doesn't look like that necessarily is the case, but who knows? This was an excellently booked show. There's no question about that. The New Japan show was. So, anyways, I have rambled on for almost 20 minutes. I should stop. But yeah. So, if you want to feel good about wrestling, I would say even go back and watch, TLC if you haven't seen TLC. It's a really good show, really good crowd. The crowd helped that show a ton, without a doubt. The ROH show was, really good to great, depending on what you liked. The main event definitely delivered. A lot of the matches, kind of some of the booking decisions weren't all that wonderful, but definitely was there and is definitely worth seeing. And the New Japan show is definitely worth seeing. Without a doubt, the best pay-per-view since last year's, 2011's Money in the Bank pay-per-view. Definitely the best pay-per-view since then. Probably better than that. I mean, you were talking WrestleMania 17 level matches here and show, and you know, some people think even better than that. I don't know about me. I don't feel it that way, but I definitely don't feel like it's one of the best shows. I don't feel like it might be there. I don't know how much. I don't know if it's there or not, but I definitely wouldn't put it up, you know, closer to some of the other great shows of all time. But again, that's just me. So, anyways, later, hopefully, I'm not gone for another 2 months, but we will wait and see. And I am out.